Hello.
Welcome. If you could give us your name and let us know who you're representing today, and then go ahead with your testimony.
Yeah. My name is Terese Howard. I'm a member of Denver Homeless Out Loud, a homeless advocacy group. It works together with Western Regional Advocacy Project in California and Oregon to bring the Right to Rest Act to Colorado and end criminalization of existing in public space. Homelessness as we know it has skyrocketed as affordable housing, wages, and needed services have been slashed. We must work together to change this, but at the same time, we must address the current situation where people are being criminalized, harassed, told to move on, just for simply performing basic acts of survival in public space. This summer, in 2014, Denver Homeless Out Loud and partner organizations across Colorado in 10 cities surveyed 431 individuals who are living without housing about what's happening. The survey findings are quite disturbing. 70% of our survey respondents have been harassed, ticketed, or arrested for sleeping. 64% have been harassed, ticketed, or arrested for sitting or laying down. 61% have had their belongings taken by police or city employees. 24% have been moved along when sleeping in their own vehicle. The rights which these acts, which the Right to Rest Act protects, come directly from these survey findings. We looked at what were the top criminalization findings, what people were being ticketed, harassed, moved along for the most, and turned that into the rights that are protected in this bill. And I just want to say the perpetual game of move along in Colorado is happening all across Colorado. And we know this not only from interviewing the 431 individuals in Colorado who are experiencing homelessness, but also from eyewitness and from personal experience. I personally witness this on a daily basis as I'm out on the streets. For example, just last week before the hearing, I was out in Lincoln Park, and the patrol officers came strolling through the park and woke everyone up who was laying down and resting, not even covering themselves. One individual that I approached afterwards was there sleeping in the park in the middle of the afternoon, not even covering himself, because he works nights and he's homeless, and so thus he cannot get into shelters. This sort of thing is happening all across our state on a daily basis. I also just wanted to make note of the car sleeping ordinances, since Representative Montine had asked about that earlier. I have done some research. We've only been able to dig deeply into 15 cities in Colorado, but we do have the laws that are criminalizing acts of survival for 15 cities. And I know from that research that at least, Avon, Boulder, Grand Junction, Thornton, and Wheat Ridge all have very explicit laws against sleeping in a vehicle. There's probably many others, but we know there's at least that many. Another thing I'd like to say in closing is that there's a lot of things that this bill does not do that are often contorted as things that it seems to do, which it does not. For example, this bill does not mean that people can throw their trash about. This bill does not mean that people can block a passageway or obstruct a doorway. This bill does not mean that people can harass other people. This bill does not mean that you can perform any of these other sorts of illegal behaviors. This bill simply gives people the rights to exist in public space, and these rights are laid out, spelled out in the bill: the right to sleep, to lay down, to cover yourself, and so on. And one thing also, it needs to be understood, this is a bill for all people. These are rights for all people. You do not have to be homeless in order to have these rights. I am currently not homeless. I can have these rights. I can go down to the park and lay down, just as children sometimes need to do, elders sometimes need to do, many people. So this is a rights for all people to exist in public space, not just homeless people. This is not necessary in order for these rights to be brought back. And then I just want to say that you guys have an opportunity at hand. This is the first state, if this committee passes this legislation, this would be the first state to actually really pass it in a committee and take that step forward. California and Oregon have heard these bills. They are continuing to move forward. And so it would be incredible to see Colorado take that big step.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Are there questions, committee? Seeing none, thanks for coming in and giving your testimony and being patient to come back.